Welcome to Knitting Nook here on C is for Chrome. Welcome to the preview of the summer knitting project. Getting past the middle of June, so it's time to get this on the go thing. So the things that you will need is some form of yarn. I decided that with my project, you should be able to use whatever yarn you want, but I'm going to show you what yarn I'm using and what needles, pardon me, not hook. I just did crochet videos, so anyways. So I got this quite a while ago, and it's a Red Heart Comfort yarn. It's a number 4 medium weight. The color is Cardinal Red. This is 1,859 yards, 1,700 meters. And for the life of me, forever and ever, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to use this yarn for. So I decided the other day, I am absolutely addicted to making shawls. I have my Square Bottom crocheted shawl that I really like, and I'm like, for a long time I figured I should be able to convert some crocheted patterns into some knitted patterns. If it's simple enough, you should be able to kind of translate back and forth. Knitting will take a little bit longer, but it's okay. Now, if you've been watching the previous Knitting Nook videos, I actually set you up for this summer project. Little bit chatty in them, but it does show you how to cast on, do how to knit, do the knit stitch, which then becomes the garter stitch, how to do a purl stitch, which becomes a stockinette stitch. Together they become the stocking stitch, and how to cast off as well. So got this big ball of red, so I'm making myself a big, and I plan on using all of this. You don't have to, but I suggest to get at least 1,000 yards of your favorite yarn, or whatever you think you're going to need to make a shawl that's at least 5 feet wide, so it'll wrap around you, depending on your size. The bigger you are, unfortunately, the more yarn you're going to need. So I have no idea whether how big this is going to be, but my goal is to use up as much of this, and if I get to a size that I like, maybe I'll make a hat to go with. I'll crochet myself a hat to go with. That might be kind of cool. Oops. So, some of the other things that you will need that are extremely helpful is a measuring tape, so that you can keep track of width and the length. One of the reasons why I made this square bottom crocheted shawl was I'm only 5'3", and some of the shawls that I've seen on various channels here on YouTube, they are extremely long in order to get it to my plus size, because I'm also broad across the shoulders and I'm chesty. So to get it to wrap around, I end up usually doing at least 6 feet. Make it 6 feet. So I am going to try and make it at least the 6 feet. And then that makes it so that when I'm definitely crocheting, it makes it so that it's only about 3.5 to 4 feet long. So it hangs down around my bum, and not at the back of my knees. There's nothing wrong with that, but that wasn't the style or the look that I wanted. So definitely tape measure is going to be very helpful. Pair of scissors, some kind of a container to keep stuff in that you can keep in your bag, the projects in your bag. This one's got a crochet project in it, but or whatever you're doing, go in your bin. This one's gonna live in my crone bag. I'll include a picture, but I did do a little video with Otis, my crochet travel buddy. He's just really soft and about the size of a kitten, I realize. So sometimes when I'm a little stressed out, if I hold him, it's just really, really nice. You shouldn't need stitch markers unless you drop in the middle of a row, like you stop in the middle of a row. My suggestion is get yourself some circular needles to do this project. Let's see if I can get mine open here. Curse of putting stuff away. Oh, there we go. I got these at Walmart. I went up a size. I wasn't sure. It's fighting me. Why are you fighting me? There we go. The yarn calls for the knitting needle, 4.5 millimeters 7 US and a 5.5 millimeter I /9 hook for a hook. I was finding with this yarn that the 5.5's a little small for it, so yeah, get yourself circular needles. That's those needles with the plastic in the middle, and what it does is, as this project grows, your work hangs in here, and as you're working, you don't get bunched up. One of the things about regular knitting needles is you have to be careful about how much you put on them, because otherwise, even as you're working, it could drop off in the middle. If you're going to use these needles, always get something with an and. There's nothing like having stuff fall off the back. And one of the things that I do when I've got work on that I've started doing, instead of what I was used to doing, was I used to kind of just loop these through and tie sort of the knot and weave things. But one of the things that I found that was better for knitting needles to keep your project together, and also to keep your needles together, is when you're working, hair elastic, and then can just wrap around on there how many ever times you want, and it keeps your needles together, keeps your work on your needles. So an elastic band, circular needles because it's going to be a big project, scissors because you'll eventually need to cut off, or if you're using smaller balls, you'll potentially trim up ends and things, your tape measure, and where did it go? And a yarn needle. One that you don't have to have one that has a sharp end. This one is a blunted end one. That's perfect for this kind of thing. And that's it. That's all you need is those few things. Something to put it in. It's nice to keep your needles and things in some sort of container. This is an old lock and lock that the bottom's gone because we used it in the microwave, and ergo it's not very good for food anymore. I've heard that when the plastic breaks down, it can release toxins into your food when you store your food in it. So just put my stuff away as I go along here. So anyways, but I do look forward to doing this project with you. It is just a knit along. Would that be a KAL instead of a CAL? And so I will be making mine and then posting videos of my progress as I go along. And so it's just a nice fun project that we start now with as fast as I knit. Potentially should have it finished for the end of September, but that goes from now till the end of September. So June 18th I do believe is today, so September 30th. I have mentioned before that if I don't finish, I'm going to get it finished for Christmas for myself. And this is a project for myself. It won't be for sale. It's just a little activity to do with you guys here on Crochet Knitting Nook on Cia's Throne. That's one of the little bit of the oopses of having everything broken down into playlists and not just be C is for Crone. I recently changed it to Crochet, Knitting, and More because C is for Crone wasn't quite it didn't actually say what my channel was about. Not really. If you don't understand what Crone is, or that I'm coming from the Sesame Street angle of things, being a little kind of playful in a silly kind of way, is like, you know, C is for cookies, C is for crone. And I've explained before, a crone is someone who is in that later stage of their life, and that it's not just about the negative definition of it, and I've decided this week's weekly word is crone, so I can explain it a little bit more. So I will look forward to knitting with you. So join me here on Knitting Nook and C is for Crone, and we'll get that shawl made up as quickly as we possibly can. Don't forget to check out those other Knitting Nook videos if you're uncertain about how to knit. Knitting's not hard. Don't be afraid to frog your work. There's nothing wrong with ripping. It's a pain in the ass the bigger you go, but the more you do, the better you get at knitting. So take your time, enjoy your knit project, and I will knit with you later.